welcome to Sonia Podcast. So, I went out in New York today to ask people what was the bravest thing they have done or seen done. And the reason why I asked this question is because a young lady sent me a story that I also want to be telling. And here's what some people had to say.
Oh, yeah. You will have to tell it to people. I'm trying to think. The bravest thing I've seen or have done. It's like a one. There is. I can't think. I think the bravest thing that someone could actually do that has been done is to uproot your whole life, coming from a different country, so my family, different country, and make a start here for your family to be better. I think that's the bravest thing that somebody could do, because it's putting their own I get what she's saying, because my people's from all over this country, all over the country, so I get that. Yeah. And your name? Imari, y'all. So thank you, Imari. No problem. He don't want people to see him, y'all, but I'm gonna let y'all hear what he actually has to say. You live? I'm recording people. So go ahead. Thank you. This is a tricky question for a lot of people. Well, I served in the military. Alright, so then you done done a lot of great things. He served in the military.
His family. When I was stationed in Bosnia during the Bosnian conflict, I struggled every day, head till high. Mother and child, and everything walking past the field looking for food and stuff like that. I think it's very strong about, all this going on. She's got two small children.
Oh my God, did y'all hear what he said? He seen the family when he was in war, and they were struggling every day, but they held their head high, and they went out every day, the mother with two small children, to find food. Thank you.
Welcome, man.
You have a great day.
You too.
Okay, go ahead.
Back in college, I saw somebody steal a woman's phone out of her hand, and I chased the guy down and got it back.
Oh, that was really brave.
Yeah.
He just didn't know what he had.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I have no idea. Bravery and stupidity are cousins. So.
Yes.
Yeah. That was probably the stupidest, bravest thing I've done.
But it was very brave, though. And your name?
Joe.
Joe. Thank you, Joe. You have a great day.
You too. Take care. Okay.
So y'all heard what the people had said about them being brave, the bravest thing they have done or have seen done. So here's the story that a young lady sent me. She said, well, she didn't say, but the story went, I watched a slim young woman walk directly up the mob of men armed with machetes and clubs who had promised to kill her. Oh, actually, this is a story a guy is actually telling, but she sent it to me. Thank you. I appreciate it. But a guy is actually telling the story. He said, my then girlfriend and I had our own business. It included a large safari lodge and farm next to a lake in Reno Sanctuary close in Zimbabwe. We leased the properties and were doing well enough to have made an offer to purchase them. That all came to an end when the war vets turned up. War vets were actually nothing of the sort. Originally veteran guerrilla fighters of the Rhodesian Bush War that has run for 15 years and ended in the 1970s, has begun protesting that they had not been properly rewarded for their service. Initially, Robert Mugabe tried to appease them by awarding them all hundreds of millions of dollars. That wasn't enough. At the same time as this was going on, there was another drama developing. At the end of the war, an agreement had been signed between the United Kingdom, the nationalist organization, including its military wings, and then the Rhodesian government. This agreement, called the Lancaster's House Agreement, agreed to majority rules in the one-man vote. Amongst other things, the British government promised to fund the purchases of commercial land for restitution to Indonesian farmers. However, right at the time of the war vets' demands, Mo, the then UK minister, decided to announce that in spite having promised to do so 20 years earlier, they would not fund the restitution of the land. The results of the disgraced decision was the President Robert saw a way to solve the problem of appeasing his war vets and also of teaching the British a lesson. He let the war vets and everyone else vaguely associate with them, or just wanted a patch of dirt loose on the white Zimbabwean farmers. At first, everyone believed it was just a protest and a political move by the ruling party to appease its supporters. It wasn't. It turned extremely nasty. Farm was destroyed. Farmers and farm work started being attacked and even being killed. There was no way the farmers and their workers could fight back. They were all massively outnumbered, and the police and army had been ordered to stay out of it. In fact, they were assisted by collecting dogs off the streets and trucking them out to the farms. We were caught in the middle of this. A crowd of war vets turned up. The lodge was abandoned. We found ourselves suddenly alone. Then some stone maniac turned up with notes written by the workers accusing us all of sorts of nonsense, telling us that they were going to take over and that we would be killed if we tried to leave. This last, the letter informed us, was because we had to produce all the money first. This was extremely serious, as there was no way we could make money appear from nowhere, and they would get nasty if we didn't. We heard singing as we walked out of the lodge. There was a mob at the front gate. It was the only exit. He then told his girlfriend to stay in the lodge and begin to approach them. The closer he got, the more aggressively they behaved. They did not enter, but if he went up to them, he knew they would kill him. They were completely out of control. We were really trapped, and it was only a matter of time before they came inside and began smashing and burning. We had no option. He was armed. He had a handgun under his shirt, and a rifle was on the back seat of his car. The problem was that the gates was at the end of the road. If he made a run for it, he would have to knock the gate down and then turn through the crowd. Although he had only seen the machete, knives, and clubs, he was certain there would be guns amongst them as well. If he tried it, it would be easy to if he tried it, it would be easy to kill him and his girlfriend. He then thought about Farmer Terry Norton, who has tried to make a break for it after getting into a shot out with a Marvel war vest. He just made it out the gate before being gunned down. He couldn't start a shootout if he wasn't sure it would mean him and his girlfriend getting out safely. On the other hand, he might not be given that choice. He then decided to explain to his girlfriend that if they attack us and they had no choice, that she would have to drive while he shoots. He looked around. She was gone. He ran out of the conference room where he'd been standing. She was walking to the gate. The war vets has gone silent. He was horrified. He couldn't approach. If he did, they might get mad. He gripped the handgun and waited to start using it. His girlfriend calmly and quietly walked up to them, and then she began talking to them softly. Here and then, men began to sit down. He had no idea what she was saying, but it was doing the impossible. Eventually, nearly everyone sitting listening to her. After a while, she stopped, and then a discussion began amongst them. She talked some more with them and then began walking back. He was crying with relief. When she reached, they said, "We can go." They drove out of the gate and never went back. And he said, yes, he married her. She's sitting on the couch as he is writing this story. And then he said, it's never important of how she said it. It was important that she approached them bravely, calmly, peacefully, and without any malice. When she spoke to them, she talked about us and the hardship that they have endured and how everything that they were invested in that place and they had not inherited a farm or anything else. And that they understood that now it was all gone. She also talked about the friendship that had grown between him and her, and the workers, and the mutual respect they had for each other. She also told them how he handed over his company cash in the bank to a politician war vet a few days later who was connected with their leadership. So that way the workers still had a job. And after signing over, the politician informed us that the owner of the property has been aware that the war vets was coming and did not let them know. He did a deal with the same politician to partner with him before they even knew they were in trouble. That was a beautiful story. Thank you. I always say I love my supporters because they always give me great things to talk about. That was a beautiful story. And I want to thank all the people that I had interviewed. They had great stories too. The bravest thing I have ever done, I stopped a young lady from actually getting killed. But I don't want to go into that story. Like, I understood with Joe when he said, there's stupidity and bravery together. But at the time, she was a great friend of mine, and I could not allow anyone to hurt her or be there and see anyone to hurt her. But I'd like to thank you again for listening to my podcast. Please give it a 5-star review on Speaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to your podcast at. Please share. Please go to my website, http://podcasters.com/wordpress.com, www.avilo, use promo code Sonia, www.instacont156. If you'd like to buy me a coffee, you can buy me a coffee. You can go listen to my son's album on Spotify, Apple. You can also follow him at Sounds on Instagram. And thank you and have a blessed day.